looks like it's 2 o'clock. And I know you have a busy day, so I don't wanna hold you up. I've been a little depressed recently. I was under the weather last week, and my wife sent me this list of perks of being over 50. So I'm gonna go. It's actually there's 18 perks. I'll go through them. I always like to start off with a little humor, so we'll see how this goes over. Number 1, kidnappers are not very interested in you. In a hostage situation, you're likely to be released first. No one expects you to run anywhere. People call at 9 p.m. and ask, "Did I wake you?" People no longer view you as a hypochondriac. There is nothing left to learn the hard way. Things you buy now won't wear out. You can eat supper at 4 p.m. You can live without sex, but not your glasses. You can get into heated arguments about pension plans. You no longer think of speed limits as a challenge. You quit trying to hold your stomach in no matter who walks into the room. That's true. You sing along with elevator music. Your eyes won't get much worse. I hope not. Your investment in health insurance is finally beginning to pay off. Your joints are more accurate meteorologists than the National Weather Service. Your supply of brain cells is finally down to a manageable size. And number 18, your secrets are safe with your friends because they can't remember them either. There you go. There you go. This heat wave is brutal. I think it's going to continue until October, right? Middle of October is what I'm hearing. Not only is it hot enough to fry an egg on the sidewalk, but you can use your mailbox as a toaster oven. I call it our electric vehicle because every time we fill it with gas, we're in for a shock. Relaxing after winning an argument with my wife. I've been there. I have an RV, which makes it nice. It's not quite as bad as sleeping outside. Earlier today, I saw a bumper sticker that said, "I'm a veterinarian, therefore I can drive like an animal." Suddenly, I realized how many proctologists are on the road. I'm not saying we're getting old, but we shouldn't stand in place for too long. I've decided not to carve a scary face into this pumpkin. I'm just going to set it out with the price still on it. That is true. Inflation, right? We have one more event for our fundraising for Alzheimer's Texas, and that is the silent auction on October the 5th, right here in this room, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Hope to see you all there. Should be some great things to bid on. There's also going to be some raffle tickets for sale. Hotel stay, Kalahari Resort package, gift certificates, themed gift baskets from all the departments, wine tasting, dinner with me, dinner with family and friends, lunch with me, I don't know what all, lots of stuff. So look forward to y'all participating in that. We are at about $111,000 to date. So Ruth wants to beat last year's.
Yes.
So we're getting there. All the help is appreciated.
What was last year?
123?
123.
123 last year. So we have a few thousand to go. COVID-19 in Westminster, you know, COVID-19 is out there still. There's been a surge in cases. We have about 5 active cases in independent living. Those folks are quarantining in their apartments. We have some cases, a couple cases in the healthcare center. So we've gone back to requiring masks when you visit the healthcare center. The state is actually in there for a infection control inspection, which I'm sure will pass with flying colors. But Make sure if you do go to healthcare that you scan in through the AccuShield system. That includes assisted living. Even if you're a resident here, we have to keep a log of all the visitors. Make sure that you're following your precautions, hand washing, sanitizing your hands, wear a mask, and stay home if you're sick. Westminster resident flu clinics, how many of you gotten the flu shot already? Oh, well, old school, you got it. I think there's another one on Wednesday, October the 4th.
2 days, Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday. So if you need those, they'll be held in the solarium. Sign-up sheets will be located in Westminster Wellness Clinic. Flyers are going out in everybody's boxes. If you haven't received it already. We will be limiting the number of residents who sign up each day so that we can manage the numbers and you won't have to wait in line. How's it going so far? Great? Good. Please remember to bring your insurance cards. COVID vaccine approved by the FDA recently is based on a variant called XBB 1.5. It will be the only COVID vaccine that's available this fall. With this updated COVID vaccine, we're back to what we call another vaccine, meaning there's only one component compared with previous bivalent vaccines. People at higher risk of severe illness should get the updated COVID vaccine as soon as possible. How many of you got the booster so far? Okay, just a few. Those will be available as well. RSV is common respiratory virus. Most people recover in a week or two, but RSV can be serious. Infants and older adults are more likely to develop severe RSV and need hospitalization. U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved a vaccine for that. So if you are worried about that, you can also get that through the clinic. Terrytown will be hosting a COVID RSV clinic in Harrisville Hall on Friday, October the 13th, because that's a great day to get a shot. 10 a.m. to 12, must register in advance, no walk-in appointments available. Both of them can be given on the same day, so you get 2 shots at the same time. Great. Good times. Sign up is located on the resident portal. I will say that Medicare B covers the COVID vaccine completely. The RSV is a little trickier and is based on what type of Medicare Part D prescription insurance plan that you have, okay? Questions and answers. I had a lot of questions this time. When will 1890 be available in the Carlisle? We're waiting on a node. So the installation of the wiring pathways has been completed, and now they need to install a node. It should be any time now. Sometime in the next couple weeks, hopefully. What is the reason that Westminster seems unable to retain good servers in our dining rooms? Our exit interviews, how many people think we have good servers in our dining rooms? I do too, yeah. Our exit interviews conducted, yes. Honestly, we do retain good servers, and we're really doing a good job with retention overall. I think sometimes as residents, you get attached to people, of course, right? You develop relationships with them and they anticipate your needs, which is all good things. But typically, server positions are kind of starter positions. People want to advance in life. They don't necessarily stay in a career position like that. They won't stay. Maria is interesting. She's been there a long time. She has no desire to be promoted. We've tried to promote her many times. Romario was a good example. He wanted to be a mechanical engineer. So we knew he wasn't going to be a server forever, which is fine. We've hired a lot of high school students, and they've gone off to college, you know. And I know some of you are like, well, what happened to them? Well, they moved on. They're still working for us on a PRN basis, but you know, this is just not what they plan to do for their career. How many of you waited tables when you were growing up, or hauled hay, or worked as a part-time something, right? A lot of you did. So that's kind of what goes on in the food and beverage department. In the grand scheme of things, our turnover is really low as an organization. It's higher than I want. My goal is 25% or less. We're around 30%, and that's campus, all campus. And the industry average, though, is in many cases 95%. The industry average turnover in restaurants is 144%. And so the 30% turnover that we achieve is really great. And we do typically turn over the same positions, like servers, dishwashers, sometimes housekeepers. Those positions do typically turn over the most, but our retention rate is in the high 80s. And actually, we have LCS, who I work for, Life Care Services, manages 150 communities across the United States, and we have the highest retention rate of any of the communities. So you know, that being said, I understand that there is turnover and you do miss people, but we do, for the most part, have a great culture, and the associates really love working here. Otherwise, we wouldn't be a top workplace for 10 years in a row.
Don't you think the Star Cards have been very effective?
I think the Star Cards have been effective, and I think also the incentive program that we put in place for culinary services has helped a lot. There was a time a couple of years ago where we could not fully staff the food and beverage department, and we have done a lot to reposition our compensation package and offer really good benefits. And now we're 98% staffed as an organization. If you look around town still, almost every hospital, every healthcare entity, every restaurant is suffering with low staffing levels. They're not able to fill all their positions. And so we're really doing a great job when it comes to being staffed, retaining our staff, and keeping our morale high. So just keep that in mind. But we do exit interviews. The majority of people leave us to move on. They're going to school, or they're relocating, or they found a full-time position or a career step. Maybe they were interested in being a charge nurse, for instance, and they were a caregiver, a CNA, a certified nurse's assistant, and we didn't have a full-time position for a nurse. So they may go to work for another organization. They'll come back to us at some point, probably, if we have an opening, but most of the reasons are those. Very few people leave us because they're unhappy. It does happen. You know, some people just don't like this environment. I can't imagine this, but they don't like working with seniors. I can't imagine that they wouldn't, but some people don't. Not all of you are kind all the time, so some of you lose a little bit of your filter, and so on occasion you upset people, but for the most part you all are very nice, and most people do like working with seniors, but there's a few that just it's not what they want to do, so they do move on. I will say also, one time we also do what's called stay interviews, and that's when we sit down with the associates that are working here, and we ask them, why do you stay, right? Why do you keep working here? And we get lots of reasons for people staying. And a few years ago, we were trying to hire some folks in healthcare, and we were really struggling to fill nursing assistants positions. And we got together our groups of associates, and we were asking them, why can't we caregivers, certified nursing assistants? And one of them said, one of the associates said, well, you follow the rules too much. Like, you hold people accountable to, doing what they're supposed to do, and not everybody wants to do that. And that's probably true. We do follow rules quite a bit. And some people don't like that environment either. They want to be treated special, above and beyond what's fair and consistent. And so we do have fair and consistent practices, and we try to treat everybody on the same playing field. Certainly recognizing talent when we can, but if you're not supposed to park in visitor parking as an associate, we expect you not to park in visitor parking. We're going to hold hold you accountable. If you're supposed to wear a name badge and uniform, you're expected to wear a name badge and uniform. We do also expect you to show up for work on time and not to call in all the time. And if you're gonna do that, then your name's not much good for us on the schedule, so. Question, why aren't we hand watering trees and shrubs in the Preston courtyard? To my knowledge, this is being done when needed. We do try to be good stewards of our resources, including water. So we have been hand watering some, not a lot, but we are doing enough to keep everything as healthy as we possibly can. Why are we paying Urban Dirt to spread granular fertilizer on dead grass and plants in the courtyard? It's part of a maintenance package that we pay them. It's part of the maintenance agreement. They're obligated to provide fertilizer to all of our grounds. I think parts of the Preston courtyard have a different grass. It's like Zoya, and it's kind of a little dormant, but it's not dead. The fertilizing will help. Yes, it is supposed to be watered into the soil, and that will happen. Yes, a little bit of it may miss some plants, but I don't think it's anything that we should worry about. We're not paying extra for it. It's included in the service. And any fertilizer is good, really. Recently, I had a leak caused by an overflow from a drip pan. Who is responsible for monitoring the drip pan so that this doesn't happen again? What probably happened was this is a condensation pan that's in the air conditioning system. And occasionally those get clogged up for one reason or another. They're typically plumbed to a sink drain. And for one reason or another, that sink drain can get clogged, or that plumbing to the sink drain can get clogged. We do treat them with bromine tablets that we put in those. Plant operations is typically responsible for it, and they do that. Question, can you give us an update on the pool opening? The pool is a mess. The air conditioning system in the pool failed. It has to be completely replaced. We could try to repair it, but the repairs are gonna cost us $80,000, and it may take us months to get coils in to do the repairs. To replace the air conditioning system is about $120,000, and we can do that faster. We've identified a unit that we can install in the pool. They're doing a warranty check on it right now, so they're doing what's called a soft startup to make sure that it's working well and that we get a full warranty. Once they've done that, the manufacturer's checked it out, we will have it brought here and we will install it as quickly as possible. It's likely to take 4 to 6 weeks before the pool is totally up and running.
Excuse me,
Yes, ma'am.
Is the $120,000 replacement, is it a new machine?
It's a new machine.
Okay,
Yes.
and it comes with a warranty?
Right, yeah. And then, but the, warranties on those items are only about a year. The useful life, though, on an air conditioning system of this type is about 20 years. Of course, the one that was in there, which is, 12 years old, was supposed to last for 20 as well. Not to depress you, depresses me. We're working on it. Question, what does the red dot on resident doors mean? Staff should not enter unless in an emergency. There's about 6 residents that have red dots on their doors. They don't want us to enter their apartment unless there's an emergency. Question, can we please have the very dirty Windsor and Preston stairwells cleaned? Yes, this will be done as soon as possible and maintained going forward. Question, some residents say you can now order meals via the portal. How does this work? I'm not ready to roll that out yet. We've had some problems with hardware and they're working on the software. But this is a project that is coming soon, and we'll provide more information likely at my next chat, and then there'll be some information that goes out via the portal and also in your boxes. But the idea is basically that you can order meals through the resident portal, which will help save some time calling in and things like Question, how do I reserve a table in the art room? There are no reservations for this space. It is on first come, first use basis. Question, when will lunch or breakfast be available in the Rowan? This service is not planned. The Rowan is meant to be an evening-only venue. And if you look at how many people go to the breakfast at the bistro? How many eat just the continental breakfast? How many order off the menu? Just a few of you, right? So it doesn't really make sense to put in more employees in the Rowan and open that for breakfast. The breakfast is really not that heavily utilized. So it's really in the best location, central location on the campus, and that's a good use of our resources, I think. Lunch, again, same thing. We have two great venues. The Rowan is really meant for an evening venue only at this point. When can we order takeout from the Rowan? I think we're gonna work on that. Should be coming soon. Is meal delivery available from the Rowan? No, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not, because we don't have the additional staff to do that. If we have 24-hour security and reception, why do we have to fob into locked amenities like the library, art room, pool, and fitness? Really, it's a way for us to monitor who is using those spaces and when, and it's also added security. Also, many of those spaces should be restricted for safety. So say if you had a resident that is confused, none of you are confused, of course, but on occasion there are residents that are confused and they could get hurt in one of those areas. We also don't want visitors, guests, grandchildren to go into those spaces unattended, and so we want to be able to control access to those spaces. When we were required by the city to put a key fob or some kind of locking mechanism on the pool, and so the fob system works for that. Eventually, even the fitness annex in the Preston will be key fobbed. All of the spaces in the building will be key fobbed to maintain access control and also to monitor the ebbs and flows of the residents. Question, why are there no hand sanitizers at Windsor Expansion and Carlisle elevators? They've been ordered, apparently been back ordered for some time. I was told today that they will be installed soon, hopefully starting this week. Question, why does the portal breakfast menu differ from the menu handed out at the bistro? I don't know. It shouldn't be, it should be the same. So I talked to Brian about that and it was changed today. This was addressed. Why are some bistro menu choices not shown on the menu, but the residents who know the secret? Can we get a more comprehensive menu? Like the June Foster salad? The Pablo salad? Just for fun? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, does that really matter? No. Share the secret. Let them know. But that's how you know you're a veteran resident, right? If you know that secret. The menus are fairly crowded as it is. Those aren't necessarily the most popular items, but it is an item that residents are familiar with and they do like it. So if we have the ability, we're gonna make it for you, absolutely. The menus are very comprehensive, but we certainly don't want to clutter them up so much that they're more difficult to read. They're kind of difficult to read now, right? They're pretty good selection on there already, so. We also like to be a little different, right? Little trailblazers there, so. Question, why do some of our Preston halls have warm air flowing, but sometimes right around the corner there is cool air flowing? So let's talk about the fundamentals of air conditioning. It really depends on the temperature in the area of the hall. If it is above temperature in the corridor, in that section, cool air will be supplied from the air conditioning vent there, right? Once the area has reached the programmed temperature, the fan coil will adjust to ambient temperature, right? It's bringing in fresh air all the time, right? And it's recycling air, but it only kicks on cool when the temperature is high, right? So if it's 76 degrees in a section of hall, then the cool air is gonna kick on. once it reaches its temperature, it's still gonna blow air, but it's not going to be cold, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Why can't the halls, question, why can't the halls be the same temperature as the marketing area where prospects come in? That has nothing to do with it. Because we like the prospects, but once you're here, we got you locked in. So actually, the areas are programmed the same. Both were asking for about approximately 74 degrees. That's what we try to run in the corridors and the lobbies. However, the marketing lobby has a lot of glass, right? So if you have a lot of glass and you're getting the heat from the sun and that natural light coming in, so it feels a little different, it feels warmer. But if you're walking down a corridor with no windows, then it's naturally gonna feel cooler, right? Because you're not getting that natural light in. So it's not that we're trying to punish you or make you mad, it's just, it's a different space, that's all, it just feels different. Question, who was on the committee that decided on Texas eclectic decor and the unusual door colors? In the future, could you please provide displays with 3 to 4 choices so that residents can vote? No. Never, ever, ever. So the Texas decor, the expansion development team, in coordination with the interior designer, who we vetted, selected and approved the theme, right? I understand that not everything about Texas eclectic is for everyone, but that's kind of the eclectic part, right? We typically present to a resident committee, so I have a resident expansion committee, and we gather their feedback before we move forward with any design. But just that. And we try to decorate with the common goal of doing the best we can for the majority, right? Decorating is very subjective. It's hard to make everybody happy. But overall, the project's really turned out very nice. And for the most part, it's good furniture and they've done a good job. Is it perfect? No, but nobody would do a perfect job, but they've done a good job. And we did have them vetted. We tried several companies. We tried a different company on the solarium. We ended up using these folks because they did a good job on the Laurel and the lobby of the Preston, and so we rolled forward, and they'll continue to work on the campus. And most everybody that comes in this place loves it and thinks it looks great. I know not all of you do. And I know some of you were really angry about the doors, and I got a lot of comments, but you're kind of getting used to them now. Not so bad. Not so bad. Yes, well, you have your own apartment home that you can decorate however you want. And I invite you to do that. Question, we have buses parked at the state school. Do we have to pay for that? No, we don't. Right after the project was finished, the Carlisle project, the fire marshal came in and made us restripe our parking along the Mopac wall, which basically took away our bus parking. The state school, we created an agreement with a few years ago to allow for us to off-site park for the duration of the construction project. I told them about the problems with our buses, and they've allowed us to park there. We built them a big, beautiful parking lot, and we're great friends to the state school, and they've allowed us to do that. Doesn't cost us anything, and it allows us to keep as many parking spots available as we can for visitor parking. Question, why are some announcements posted on the private side of the resident portal? The answer, announcements should be posted to the public side. There may have been a mistake made, but we will address that. Typically, we want people to be able to see the notices, including your family. So if they log into the resident portal, say we do a water shutdown or electrical shutdown or dining room shutdown, or whatever it happens to be, we want you to be able to know those things. So I'm sorry if that occurred. I think it was a food and beverage memo maybe, and they've addressed that. Question, when an area of Westminster is reserved for a private event for invited guests only, is there a fee charged? Yes, typically there is. On occasion, we have provided free spaces for community activities such as neighborhood associations, charitable organizations, and whatnot. And we've offered those free. And we do that just in support of our community. Question, instead of giving us an unnecessary coffee bar or conservatory, how about influencing our hiring of employees by providing an infant child care center? The next phase of our master plan is about positioning Westminster for the future as a community, and additional spaces will make a positive impact on the community position in the market. Providing a child care center is an option we have looked at in the past, actually multiple times, but couldn't get the numbers to work. We will continue to explore benefits to our associates and currently have the most robust benefits package in the area, which is a true statement. And I think that's one of the reasons we've been able to keep as well staffed as we have been. To really make a child care center work, you need about 20 children to care for. And it just doesn't work out for us mathematically. It would be another license, it would be some more insurance, we would have to identify the spaces. But for now, we're looking at other options, other benefits like subsidizing childcare and making partnerships with daycares in our area, and things like that. But to put in a childcare center is just really not something that makes sense for us right now. Question, are there any plans to improve the acoustics in the road? It's very noisy. Yes, actually, we had drapes installed in the Rowan last week. They're blue, I believe, and it should cut down on the noise. I noticed that as well. It took us since we opened the Rowan to get the drapes in. Everything is taking longer nowadays. Question, I love questions that have a lot of comments with them. A pickleball court is a great idea, but couldn't it be better located at the southwest end of our campus? This would have less of a noise impact because there are less balconies in that area. I'm familiar with the area they mentioned. It's actually near the driveway on the south end of the campus, but it really wouldn't work because it's not large enough. You have to think about, not only do you need the footprint of the pickleball court, but you have to have space around it. And you don't want to put the pickleball court by a driveway that's really heavily used and really tight as it is. We also want to minimize the loss of parking spaces when possible. We will control the noise. I know residents are worried about the noise, but we will control the noise by controlling the equipment that's being used. We'll be doing sound mitigation. We'll control the hours of operation. And I don't expect it to be used 24 hours a day. Question, are the Preston Fountain and Preston Entrance waterfall turned off because of water restrictions or for some other reason? Yes, I had them turned off due to the water restrictions. Actually, I live in Williamson County and they were in stage 3 water restrictions before Travis County was, and so I turned them off when that occurred. And we are paying attention. We want to be good stewards, and having those fountains operating when the lakes are at 42% that's not good. We don't want to cause shortages, so we did turn them off. They're not broken though. They may be broken when we try to turn them back on, but obviously, hopefully not. Question, are the plans for phase 4 complete? If no, how do residents get info and provide input? Well, they are not totally complete. They're in the design phase. We're still accepting input and comments. A great way to provide feedback is to send me an email or drop off a note. And you can drop it off at any reception desk. You can sign it if you want. You don't have to. And then you can also contact any member of the Resident Expansion Committee. And I'll give you those names, and they're so excited to hear what you have to say. It's a great committee. They've been very helpful so far, and we really, the resident committee that was involved in the Carlisle expansion was very helpful, especially Mr. Ruiz, Pablo. He did a great job with just providing a great list of items for us to consider in the Carlisle. And what most of it went into the construction of the Carlisle, and I think we ended up with a much better building because of it. Can you update us on the Wi-Fi? Can you explain what happened? Yes. So whose Wi-Fi is working today? You all should be able to raise your hands. Miss Collins, I didn't lie to you? Oh, good. So your Wi-Fi should be working at this point. If it's not, then I want you to call reception and put in a work order. But at this point, the community's My West Wi-Fi should be up and running in all locations. Danny has walked most of the building. I have walked the Windsor and the Carlisle, and I can see that it's running. So it's running here right now. So explain what happened. Several months ago, you may recall that we had a conversation, or I had a conversation in this chat about your utilization and how the utilization had outgrown the network kind of, and that we needed to do an upgrade to the Wi-Fi. At that time, shortly after that meeting, I had signed an agreement to have our Wi-Fi upgraded. And so they purchased all new equipment, improved speed capability, wireless access points, that's these round discs that are in the hall on the ceiling grid. And then all the hardware, the controllers, the switches, everything that's meant to service the system was replaced last week. When the items came in, it worked for a few minutes, and then the system started flapping, basically going on and off, and then it finally failed a couple hours in. So then they went through a process to try and discover what hardware was faulty. They went through a process over the last several days of replacing every piece of hardware with the exception of the wireless access points. So every router, every switch, every controller was replaced in the system. What was happening was a feedback loop was being caused by faulty pieces of equipment, and it was basically causing a surge in the system and taking the whole system down. And it affected the Carlisle as well. So as of today, it should be all up and running. Yesterday, they received their last piece of equipment. Yesterday morning, they had installed and completed work for the Carlisle, the Windsor, and Preston on 1, 2, and 3. Yesterday afternoon, they received the last piece of equipment they were able to install today to bring Wi-Fi to levels 4 and 5.
Who are they?
They are Inspire Wi-Fi, the folks that originally installed the Wi-Fi back in 2016.
Thank you.
The Spectrum Wi-Fi, remember I talked about having two systems, right? There's gonna be a redundancy in the Preston and Windsor building. Spectrum is in the process, they started last week installing wireless access points in apartment units. How many people have had a Wi-Fi or WAP put in their apartment, little box on their wall? Okay, a few of you. So those are going to be dedicated to your apartment, right? Should provide you fantastic Wi-Fi signal within your dwelling, within your home. But that is those two systems, both Inspire Wi-Fi, so the My West Wi-Fi, and the Spectrum Wi-Fi will function within your apartment and also in the common spaces. And they should be really fast. Should be able to handle all of your devices and should be able to watch movies or whatever you're using your devices for. So I apologize for the inconvenience. It wasn't Danny's fault. It really wasn't the people's fault that installed it. It really is a matter of quality control. Mr. Woodrick and I have talked many times about how they're just a failure nowadays of quality control. People are sending out pieces of hardware or items before they've been inspected and made sure that they're working. It's disappointing, but that's really what caused the outage, and it took them days of going through every piece of equipment to try and figure out the problem. So I apologize for the inconvenience, but we should have, now and going forward, a really good, robust Wi-Fi system on the MyWest Wi-Fi, and then Spectrum is coming soon. Spectrum has to install all the wireless access points for all the apartments before they can bring their system online, but that's coming soon as well.
Chuck,
Okay, yes,
I'd like to commend Danny and the folks who have been sending almost daily annotations for making progress, updates down to all of us.
appreciate it.
That makes it so much less frustrating, so.
I appreciate that, I'll tell Danny, it's okay. Let's see. Resident Expansion Committee, so if you do have, comments or suggestions with regard to phase 4 of our expansion, reach out to one of these folks, Pat Wright, Cynthia Leach, Boyd Taylor, Marilyn Woodall, Judy Siff, Jerry Pritchard, Charles McEwen, Bobby Collins, Camille Miller, and Bernie Schiff. Those folks are on the Resident Expansion Committee. Appreciate all of you volunteering for that. And they won't blame you for anything that goes wrong. That's my job, right? Got that. Just a reminder, how many of you are aware that the Westminster Campus Shuttle is available? Everybody? You know you can ride it between the buildings, you can take it to the Grove if you want to. Please contact reception security when needed to request your shuttle. Shuttle service is available at 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. 7 days a week. And this is for on campus primarily and also to the Grove. Just dining reminders, the Rowan Restaurant is open from 4:30 to 9 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. You do need reservations for parties of 5 or more. The Rowan Cocktail Lounge is open 1 to 7 p.m. on Mondays. The Rowan Cocktail Lounge is open from 1 to 9 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. And these are the numbers for you to call and make reservations. Walk-ins are welcome as long as it's 4 or less. Enjoy that space. So the interior signage project was installed on the Preston building. It messed up the walls because they had to install the new signage to meet the ADA code. The old signage was a little high on the wall. So we're gonna have that all touched up, of course, but that's why it's placed where it is. They didn't do it on purpose to make us mad. It's actually a code requirement that the braille on the sign has to be at a certain height, and also the sign itself, so. Most of the window washing is completed. If you were missed, or something in your apartment needed to be washed and it was missed, let us know, just let reception know and put in a work order. But I believe they did a really good job. This is a good new company, so I'm looking forward to working with them. I think I talked about this previously, but the woodworking shop is open for use. We talked about Spectrum already. The WAPs in each apartment, that work has begun. As soon as they're all installed, then they can bring the system online. The solar work on the Preston, or the Windsor and the Carlisle has been completed, waiting for a city inspection to turn it on. Service work for the Preston Electric still hasn't been done. We're still pending scheduling on that. So we've identified the contractor, but they haven't fit us in the schedule yet. Let's see, Preston Boiler Project. We've received all the boilers on site, which is good news. We're likely going to change that project. We have an engineer working on it to implement that. But the good news is that all the new boilers are on site. The Windsor Boiler Project has been completed except for the variable pump. So the Windsor, you all should be receiving very good hot water at this point and a good supply. It will get even better as we install this new variable speed pump. That's supposed to arrive late this week or early next week. Once that arrives, we'll have to do a shutdown, but then we'll install that new pump, and it should be vastly improved. The nice thing about that is both on the boiler side and the the variable pump side is that both of these systems have the ability to ramp up. So we'll save energy by not running the boiler at full 100%. We can run sections of it at a time. And then as your demand increases as you wake up and more of you are taking showers or using dishwashers or whatever, the system can ramp up and use that energy that's necessary. So it should save us a few $1,000s a year over the life of it. So that's good. I don't really have anything. Star cards can be used for any associate, including those in management and supervisors. Please write a star card for those people that you know are doing a great job. The associates love to get those, especially new associates that are brand new coming in. They've never gotten a compliment in their life, some of them, so pass those on if you can. And I think that's all I have. We want to do some questions from the audience or go home? How many want to go home? You're not committed enough to going home. All right, who has a question they want answered?
Thank you. This is my question. We have these new speed bumps in the Carlisle, which are effective in slowing cars down. The problem is that the speed bumps go all the way across the parking garage. And what that means is that if you put something on the trolley on the other side of the bump that's heavy, you can't get it over the speed bump to bring it back to your apartment. So if we could just get one end of the speed bump removed, it isn't gonna make it possible for cars to race around, but we can move the trolley around. So if you
I'll look at that.
If you could do that, that would be very helpful. And
The thing that I don't want to happen is that people will swerve to avoid some of the speed bump.
It will, well.
You know, and people, have you seen people do that in parking lots and parking
I've
garages?
seen it in parking lots where the speed bumps
Yeah.
are not put in for the benefit of the people who live there and are very happy where they're living in one of this
Yeah.
man-made Chuck Summit.
Yeah, I'll look into that though.
So,
I'll
okay,
think about it.
And one other thing, and that is that the towel dispenser outside of the wall is an old-fashioned one. And when you load it with towels, if you try to pull out a towel,
Tears them up.
it tears. And so the result is that you have all kinds of torn towels outside of the Laurel in the bathroom. And if we just get one that would automatically move it, as we have in other sections, that would be very helpful, and it would also be helpful outside of the bistro. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Auto paper towel dispensers,
Those two, please.
at least two. Actually, I've heard people don't like those tri-fold paper towels either, that are in the narrow boxes, I guess, yeah.
Let's go back to June and we moved in. We would have a place where we could charge our electric chargeable car.
Yes.
And I was wondering what the status is of getting one.
There is one on the west side of the Windsor. And then we're also having 2 installed on each floor of the Carlisle. It'll be probably sometime over the next few months, but it is coming, yes. And then we're also gonna be installing some electric duplex outlets for slow charging, trickle charging of vehicles as well. There'll be 3 located on each floor of the Carlisle parking garage.
Is it possible to reduce the volume of the fire alarm?
No. I wish that it was. That's about the 150th time I've been asked that over the last 16 years. I wish that there was. Unfortunately, those are designed per code. And that is that's the decibel requirement for the code. The best thing is not to have them going off. So try not to burn your bacon and toast and oatmeal and things like that.
That would happen at 12:40.
What is the status of the pottery studio?
Pottery Studio is being cleaned and almost finished, I am told. Are you ready to make some pottery? Good, I'm glad to hear that. How many people are gonna try it? I'm ready to try making a bowl. Last time I made a bowl was my freshman year of high school and it exploded in the kiln. So maybe I'll do mine on my own. Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of fire alarms, I wonder if you explain why fire alarm went off in the Carlisle building last Sunday morning at 1:46.
1:46 in the morning? I do not know, honestly. I will find out though. Yeah.
It didn't last very long, but it did, because it was there to be woken up by the fire alarm going off at 1:46.
Absolutely. Did they announce an all clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they announced it.
And you said it was Sunday? You said it was Sunday? Okay, I'll check. I'm not sure. Yeah. Sometimes, residents pull them and sometimes they're set off because, I will tell you, like, if you do, how many of you like to burn oatmeal? Admit who you are right now. No. So, if you do burn something, let's say you smoke up some fish or something in your apartment, please don't open your door to the corridor and let that smoke into the corridor. Call reception, open the door, your windows, right? Turn your exhaust fans on in your bathroom, but if you open the door to the corridor, your smoke is now everybody's smoke. And so it's going to set off, if it gets into the corridor, it will set off the entire building's fire alarm system. So if you overcooked your oatmeal, just open your window, ask for a fan, we'll bring one up and we'll exhaust it to the outside and you won't make everybody mad. They don't usually find out who it is because we don't tell them. You never know. You might have a neighbor telling you. So, yes, sir.
Now that we're talking about fire alarms going off, and they go off generally just in one building, but everybody gets the all clear. Is there any way that we can get all clear for the building where the fire alarm is going?
So one of the things I'm trying to do, and I've been talking to Centrix about this, that's the folks that have designed and built the emergency call system, is to separate the building in partitions so that we don't have to make the announcement for everyone. And they're supposed to be working on that. So they've never done that before, and I'm asking them to do it. It's something outside of their typical business practices, but we'll see if they can. I think they can. Yes, ma'am.
Talking about the Centrex system, the little box that does the all clear or other announcements in our apartment, we can't hear it if we're in either of our bedrooms, which are in, different areas.
Right.
Is there a way we can turn it up, or does that mean that the box has to be replaced?
I don't believe so. Yeah, the box may need to be replaced. I don't typically hear that announcements aren't heard. They're typically too loud.
They're, in the back of our apartments, in the
Okay.
winter, we cannot hear that at all.
All right, well, let's talk to them about
I'll put in
whether or
a
not they
work
can
order.
turn.
Should I put in a work order?
Let me reach out to them and see if they're capable of being turned up. Okay?
Is there any plan to fix the elevators in Carlisle so that one knows what the other one is doing?
Yes.
It's very inefficient.
Well, so ironically, I totally agree with you. Ironically, the week before, let's see, I was out last week for a couple days, and they sent me an email telling me that the warranty's up. Yeah.